In the quiet places of your heart, where the light grows dim and the night feels long, God is drawing near to you with a love that does not tremble, a love that does not fade, a love that speaks softly into the anxious shadows and reminds you that your worry is not the truth, not the story, not the voice you were made to follow. You were shaped by His hands, held by His presence, carried by His promises. And when the world feels heavy upon your chest, when thoughts swirl with the winds of fear, He breathes a calmer wind, a deeper peace, a whisper that says, "Come to me, rest, be still. I am here." So let your heart breathe again as you settle into this sacred moment, letting every anxious thought drift gently into the hands of the one who holds you. Picture the soft glow of a lantern in the darkness, steady, unwavering, the light of God rising within the night of your mind, reminding you that even here, even now, you are never alone. Every heartbeat testifies to His nearness, every breath carries the quiet truth of His compassion, and every moment is wrapped in the mercy that never runs out. Worry may shout, but God speaks with a voice that settles the soul, and His voice is the one that tells the truth. Imagine the gentle rustle of leaves as the evening settles over a small village in ancient Israel, the sky turning from gold to deep, tender blue. Children gather close to their homes, lamps flickering in windows, the world slowing down as families draw near for the night. And in one quiet home, a young woman named Hannah sits in the stillness, her heart trembling with worries that feel heavier than she can bear. She has prayed for so long, cried for so long, hoped for so long, and still the answers seem far away. Her thoughts swirl with questions. Why, Lord? How long? What if? What if? What if? And her spirit grows weary beneath the weight of fears that whisper lies into her soul. But God, oh, how tenderly He steps into the places where worry pretends to be truth. For He sees every trembling sigh, every silent tear, every restless night, and He does not look away. As Hannah wipes her eyes and rises slowly from where she has been sitting, she makes her way to the house of the Lord, her steps soft upon the ground, her heart fragile but reaching, stretching toward even the faintest hope that God still hears her. And as she kneels, pouring out her soul, without words, without strength, without anything left but longing, the Lord bends close, nearer than breath, nearer than thought, and He begins weaving His answer even before she knows it. God does not wait for confidence before He helps. He meets us in the trembling. He meets us in the worry. He meets us in the moments when fear tries to convince us that we are forgotten. And as Hannah prays, the peace of God begins to settle upon her, not because her circumstances have changed, but because her spirit touches His presence, and in His presence, worry loses its power. She rises not with the full picture, not with complete clarity, but with something deeper, a calm that whispers, God is working. God is near. God is not done. And the same God who comforted Hannah in her uncertainty is the one who comes to you now. He knows the worries you carry, the ones you voice and the ones you hide, the ones that keep you awake and the ones that live quietly inside your chest. He knows the questions that twist through your mind and the fears that try to paint false futures. Yet the Lord speaks into your heart with a steady, patient truth. Fear is not your shepherd. Worry is not your guide. I am the one who leads you, and I lead you toward peace. So let yourself unclench. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing turn slow and deep. The night is not your enemy. The silence is not empty. God is here, surrounding you with a love that has already seen tomorrow, already prepared the path, already secured your steps. Every fear you hold is known to him, and yet not one of them is bigger than his promise. Not one is stronger than his hand. Not one is truer than his word. Worry lies, but God does not. And his love will be the anchor that keeps you steady through every uncertain moment. As the night deepens in that ancient village, Hannah walks slowly back to her home, her heart still tender, but no longer trembling in the same way. The stars shimmer above her like promises woven into the sky, each one a small reminder that the God who formed the heavens is the same God who listens to the quiet cries of a single soul. And though she does not yet know how her story will unfold, she carries a new stillness within her, a gentle quiet that settles her thoughts and softens the sharp edges of her worries. It is the kind of peace that does not come from understanding, but from trusting, the kind of rest that forms not in the solving of problems, but in the presence of the one who holds every solution in his hands. And as she steps inside her home, something within her spirit whispers, almost like a soft breeze brushing across her heart. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. God has heard you. These words linger in the deepest corners of her soul, warm and steady, and for the first time in a long while, she feels the calm weight of God's love settling over her like a blanket. She lies down, closing her eyes, her breathing slow and deep, and she lets herself be held by the truth that God is nearer than every anxious thought that once kept her awake. In your own life, in your own quiet room, God offers you the same peace. You may feel like your prayers are slow to be answered, like the worries you carry are louder than your hope, like the night stretches long with questions you cannot silence. But the Lord's heart leans close to yours, just as he leaned close to Hannah. He does not turn away from your fears. He does not grow impatient with your doubts. Instead, he surrounds you with a presence stronger than any storm inside you. He whispers into your weary places, "Be still, my child. I am here. I am working. I am holding you even now." The lies of worry will tell you that you are unprotected, unsupported, uncertain of tomorrow. But God's voice tells another story, a truer one, a gentler one. He tells you that you are carried, you are cherished, you are securely held in everlasting arms. He tells you that no fear has authority over your future. No anxiety can erase his promise. No shadow is darker than the light he places within you. He reminds you that your life is not left to chance or chaos. It is guided by a shepherd who leads you beside still waters, restores your soul, and walks with you through every valley with a love that will not fail. So let yourself relax into that truth now, letting the tightness in your chest unravel, letting your thoughts begin to settle like dust drifting slowly to the ground. Breathe deeply, gently, knowing that with every breath, God is renewing you, calming you, soothing you. Feel his peace like warm light rising within you, quieting the rush of your mind, softening the weight you've carried for far too long. Let his presence become the soft rhythm that rocks your heart into rest, the steady assurance that whatever tomorrow holds, it will meet you with grace, because God walks into your future before you ever arrive. Worry may pretend to be powerful, but it is only a whisper compared to the voice of God. And his voice speaks blessing over you, strength over you, comfort over you. He calls you beloved. He calls you chosen. He calls you his. And no lie of fear can drown out the truth he speaks. There is a quiet beauty in knowing that God watches the small movements of your heart, the unspoken aches, the worries that form like thin clouds across your thoughts. He sees the ones that drift softly and the ones that grow heavy and dark. Yet He is not intimidated by any of them. When you feel swallowed by what-ifs, He surrounds you with His certainty. When you feel lost in your thoughts, He steadies you with His truth. When the world feels loud, He speaks in a gentle tone that calms the trembling places inside you. And oh, how His voice wraps around your soul like a warm blanket in the cool of night. Tender, patient, unwavering. Imagine now the soft hush of early morning settling over another ancient story, one written long before you were born, yet somehow whispering directly into your present moment. The young shepherd boy named David rises before the sun, the cool air brushing across his face as he steps into the fields. The sky is pale, washed in muted purple and fading stars, and David's heart is calm in a way that does not come from perfect peace around him, but from perfect peace within him. For David learned early that worry comes swiftly, fear shouts loudly, and danger is real. Yet the presence of God is more real still, more constant, more powerful than anything that threatens the soul. As he leads the sheep beside quiet waters, David lifts his eyes to the hills and breathes a long, steady breath. He knows the world beyond these fields holds battles, giants, uncertainties, and voices that speak louder than truth. But here in the early morning stillness, he feels the nearness of God wrapping around him like a gentle cloak. He hums a melody under his breath, a song forming quietly in his spirit, a song that will one day comfort millions of hearts, including yours. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Those words were not written by someone who lived free from fear. They were written by someone who learned where to run when fear came. David knew what it felt like to face things bigger than him, heavier than him, darker than he understood. But he also knew that worry is a lie, and God's presence is the truth. And so he leaned into that truth, letting it guide his footsteps, his breath, his faith. You too can lean into that truth tonight, resting your mind in the steady assurance that the same shepherd who led David leads you just as lovingly now. And as the day warms over the hills, David stands tall, his staff in hand, his heart anchored. Lions may come, bears may come, giants may come, but the love of God surrounds him more tightly than fear ever could. And even though he is young and small and seemingly insignificant in the great sweep of history, God sees him, God chooses him, God protects him, and God teaches him that worry has no power over a heart held in divine hands. The same is true for you, beloved one. The worries that feel enormous to you look small in the light of God's glory. The fears that chase your thoughts cannot outrun the presence that follows you, surrounds you, and goes before you. God has already stepped into the places that scare you. He has already prepared the path that looks intimidating. He has already spoken peace over the storms that whisper threats into your heart. And though you may not see the full picture yet, God holds every piece gently, purposefully, compassionately. So let yourself soften now, letting the muscles in your face unclench, letting the weight behind your eyes grow lighter. Feel the slow, warm rhythm of your breathing deepen as your soul leans into the truth that God is not merely aware of your fears. He is actively working in them, through them, around them. And his work is always good, always timely, always faithful. Tonight, that same God speaks to you in the quiet, not in the chaos of your thoughts, not in the shaking of your fears, not in the noise of your worries, but in the stillness where his voice is clearest. Let his whisper reach you now. I am with you. I am strengthening you. I am restoring you. I am guiding you. You are not alone. Not now. Not ever. And as those words settle into the deepest parts of your being, feel your heart release yet another layer of tension, another weight you were never meant to carry. Let yourself rest in the truth that the God who comforted Elijah in his darkest moment is holding you with the same gentle care. You are safe in his hands. You are secure in his love. You are supported by a grace that will not fail. The night around you grows softer now, like a tender canopy stretching over your thoughts, inviting your heart to rest in the quiet certainty of God's presence. Even as your mind remembers the things that once tightened your chest and quickened your breath, there is a deeper part of you that begins to loosen, to breathe, to trust that the God who spoke gently to Elijah speaks gently to you as well, not with pressure, not with demand, but with love that understands your humanity, your fragility, your longing for reassurance. Imagine now that Elijah, after hearing that still, small voice, lets his shoulders finally relax. He realizes that God has not abandoned him, has not forgotten him, has not turned his face away. Instead, God has drawn closer than ever. And this realization brings a peace that no earthly solution could ever offer, a peace not dependent on circumstances, but born of presence, a peace that seeps into the anxious corners of the soul like warm oil soothing a wound. And just as God sent Elijah back into life with renewed strength, he sends that same renewing breath into your spirit now, quietly, steadily, lovingly. Let yourself feel it, the gentle warmth resting over your body like a blanket of grace, the softening in your chest, the unwinding of thoughts that once spiraled too quickly, the stillness settling into your breathing, long and slow and peaceful. You are being restored, even if you cannot see it happening. You are being strengthened, even if you feel fragile. You are being held, even if the night feels silent. For the silence is not empty, it is filled with God. And now the story shifts again, as the soft dawn touches the distant horizon of another life. Someone who knew worry in a different way. Someone who walked with Jesus himself, yet often felt the tug of fear pulling at his heart. Peter, the fisherman with calloused hands and a brave yet trembling spirit, had moments when faith felt as firm as the deck beneath his feet, and moments when worry shook him like the wind across the waves. One night, the disciples were crossing the Sea of Galilee when a fierce storm rose up around them. Waves crashed against the boat, the wind roared like a living creature, and worry surged through their hearts like a flood. Yet in the midst of the storm's rage, Jesus walked toward them, not hurried, not alarmed, but steady, calm, unwavering. And as they cried out in fear, believing they saw a ghost, Jesus spoke over the noise and the wind. "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Those words floated across the water like a balm, quieting the storm inside them even before the storm around them had calmed. And Peter, with his mix of courage and fear, cried out, asking to walk to Jesus on the waves. Jesus simply said, "Come." And for a few miraculous moments, Peter stepped onto the water, lifted above the storm, carried by the power of Christ's presence. But then he noticed the wind, he noticed the waves, he noticed the chaos swirling around him. Worry began to whisper its lies, and as worry grew louder, faith grew quieter, and Peter began to sink. Yet before the water could swallow him, before fear could claim him, before worry could define him, Jesus reached out immediately, and pulled him back up. Jesus did not wait. He did not hesitate. He did not let Peter struggle alone. His hand was there the moment fear surfaced, and his hand is there for you just as swiftly, just as surely, just as lovingly. When your thoughts begin to swirl, he reaches, When fear pulls you downward, he lifts. When worry convinces you that you are sinking, he steadies you with the truth. I am here. I will not let you fall. You may feel surrounded by waves, but you are more surrounded by grace. You may feel shaken by storms, but you are more supported by the hands that hold all things together. So breathe again, softly, slowly, peacefully. Let the image of Jesus lifting Peter rest in your mind like a warm imprint. Let his nearness drown out the noise of every anxious thought. Let his kindness become the rhythm your heart follows. For the one who calmed storms with a whisper still speaks peace over you tonight. Then every one of them, a peace that does not depend on understanding, but on abiding. Abiding in him, resting in him, letting his nearness become the anchor that holds you steady through every uncertainty. His peace is not fragile. It does not flicker when the winds rise. It does not fade when tomorrow feels unclear. It wraps around your heart like a quiet promise, whispering through the anxious corners of your mind, "You are safe with me. I am your peace. I am your steadiness. I am your shelter." And imagine now that final night with Jesus and his friends, the quiet rustle of robes, the soft rhythm of breathing, the lamp's warm glow painting gentle hues across the room. Jesus lifts his eyes to his Father and prays over his disciples, over all who would follow him, over you. He asks that his joy would fill you, that his love would hold you, that his truth would steady you, that his presence would remain with you always. Even before you were born, he prayed that your heart would rest in him rather than in worry. He saw the nights you would struggle. He knew the fears you would face, and he covered you in prayer long before your first breath. Let that sink into your soul now. Jesus prayed for your peace before you even existed. He prayed for your strength. He prayed that you would know how deeply, how completely, how unshakably you are loved, and that love follows you like a warm light through every shadow. It steadies you like a gentle hand upon your back. It cradles your heart with tenderness even on the nights you cannot feel it. For his love does not depend on your awareness of it. It simply is, constant, present, eternal. As you breathe slowly in the quiet of this moment, imagine the soft presence of Jesus beside you, the same Jesus who calmed storms, who touched lepers, who lifted the brokenhearted, who restored the weary. His nearness wraps around you like the hush of dawn settling across a still lake. His peace moves through you like a warm current, dissolving the tension in your mind, loosening the grip of worry on your chest. He whispers into the gentle stillness, "My child, your worry is not your truth. I am your truth. I am your safety, your rest, your future. You can release your burden now. I am carrying you." Let those words pour over you slowly, deeper than thought, deeper than emotion, reaching into the quietest parts of your soul. The places where worry once dug deep begin to soften. The places where fear once tangled your thoughts begin to release. The places where your heart once clenched in uncertainty begin to relax beneath the warmth of his love. You are safe. You are held. You are known. And nothing can separate you from this love that surrounds you. Picture now the slow movement of time as the night drifts toward early morning, that sacred space where darkness begins to loosen its hold and the first hints of dawn peek gently over the horizon. This is the hour when the world feels still, hushed, almost tender. And in this quiet hour, imagine Mary Magdalene walking slowly through a garden, her steps heavy with grief, her heart crushed beneath the weight of loss. She loved Jesus dearly, and in her sorrow she carries the ache that so often accompanies worry, a fear that all hope is gone, that the future is shattered, that the light has disappeared. But even here, in this moment of deep anguish, God is working. Even when she cannot see it, cannot feel it, cannot imagine it, hope is already rising. For Jesus stands only steps away, alive, radiant, filled with glory, and Mary does not yet know. She weeps, believing the worst, while the greatest miracle in history stands right behind her. And then, in a voice that cuts through sorrow, through confusion, through worry itself, Jesus speaks one word: Mary, her name, spoken with tenderness, spoken with love, spoken with the power to shatter every lie fear had whispered to her. In that moment she turns, her heart igniting with joy, with recognition, with the overwhelming truth that God had been working even in the silence, even in the darkness, even in the grief. So rest now, deeply, peacefully. Let the stories of Hannah, David, Elijah, Peter, Mary, and the disciples weave together around your heart like a warm tapestry of comfort. Each one faced fear, each one felt worry, each one walked through shadows. But in every story, God's presence proved stronger, God's love proved deeper, God's truth proved louder than the lies of fear. And now, He is with you, in this breath, in this moment, in this quiet night filled with His gentle peace. Your worry is a lie, but God's love is the truth. Your fear is temporary, but God's presence is eternal. Your thoughts may tremble, but your soul is held steady by the one who never lets go. You can sleep now in the deep assurance that you are watched over, protected, cherished, and completely surrounded by peace that passes all understanding. God is here, and He will not leave you. And as the night settles more deeply around you, like a soft mantle of quiet mercy, let your heart drift gently into the truth that has been unfolding through every story whispered into your spirit. The truth that God has always been and will always be, closer than your fears, stronger than your worries, gentler than your doubts. His nearness is not something you earn, not something you chase, not something you strive to feel. It is simply who He is. Emmanuel, God with us, God with you, in every breath, in every moment, in every uncertain step you take. Imagine now the cool hush of twilight settling over a small, humble home in Bethlehem many years after the resurrection of Jesus. An elderly woman sits quietly near her window, the last rays of the sun brushing across her hands. Her name is Naomi, and she has lived long enough to see seasons of joy and seasons of sorrow, times when hope felt bright and times when fear whispered heavily. But through it all, she has discovered something precious. The deeper her life sank into God's presence, the less power worry held over her. She learned to release every anxious thought like a bird into the sky, trusting that God would carry what she could not. Tonight, she rests in her chair, her breathing slow and steady, her thoughts drifting through memories softened by the tenderness of age. She remembers the years when grief nearly swallowed her, when she felt bitter and empty, when fear overshadowed every hope she had. But she also remembers how God gently led her into a new chapter through the faithfulness of Ruth, through the kindness of Boaz, through the unfolding of a story she could never have predicted. And now, near the end of her life, she looks back with a quiet smile, seeing how every moment of worry was met by God with something stronger: goodness, mercy, provision, love. Her story reminds your heart of a truth often forgotten in the midst of worry, that God is weaving a future far kinder than you know, even when the threads seem tangled, even when the pattern feels hidden, even when nothing makes sense yet. He is crafting a story in your life more beautiful than the fear-filled versions you imagine. Your worry projects worst-case endings, but God writes redemptive beginnings. Worry imagines loss, but God prepares restoration. Worry paints darkness, but God is painting dawn. Take a slow breath now, letting your spirit soften further, letting your mind settle like snow falling gently to the ground. Feel the presence of God resting over you, quiet and warm and steady, like a protective shelter built of everlasting arms. He is here, holding the pieces of your heart with tenderness deeper than words, smoothing the creases of fear with hands that shaped galaxies, whispering peace into the places that once felt unreachable. You are not expected to be fearless. You are simply invited to trust the one who is. You are not expected to understand everything. You are invited to rest in the one who sees everything with perfect clarity. You are not expected to control the future. You are invited to walk with the one who already stands within it. Your only task in this moment is to breathe, to rest, to lean into the soft truth that everything you worry about is already beneath God's attentive care. And as the night deepens, imagine the soft glow of lanterns being lit across a peaceful hillside where a shepherd tends his flock. The stars shimmer overhead, countless and serene, each one a reminder of promises God has spoken through generations. The shepherd looks upward, feeling the quiet weight of the sky, the gentle warmth of God's presence, and he whispers a prayer that drifts into the night like incense. Lord, keep me from fear. Draw me into your peace. Let my soul rest in your goodness. Let that prayer settle into your own heart now. Let it become the quiet rhythm of your thoughts, the calm undercurrent of your breathing. Feel God's peace descending upon you like gentle dew, gathering softly over your spirit, soothing every restless place, calming every thought that rises in worry. You are sheltered beneath his wings. You are steadied by his promises. You are surrounded by his love that does not flicker or fade. And as your body sinks more deeply into rest, imagine the warm voice of your shepherd whispering into the quiet night. You are mine. I am with you. I watch over you. I give my beloved sleep. Those words wrap around you like a tender embrace, settling into the depths of your heart, silencing every anxious whisper. You are safe in a way that goes beyond circumstances. You are held in a way that goes beyond understanding. You are loved in a way that goes beyond everything worry has ever tried to tell you. So let yourself drift, now, slowly, gently, peacefully, into the arms of the God who never sleeps, who never leaves, who never lets you go. And as the quiet continues to settle over you like a warm and gentle veil, let your spirit drift even deeper into the soft assurance that God is closer now than the very air you breathe. The night does not separate you from him. Silence does not distance you from him. Stillness does not hide you from him. Instead, these quiet moments open a greater space for his presence to wrap tenderly around your heart, soothing the worries that once felt so heavy, calming the thoughts that once chased themselves in circles, softening every place where fear tried to take root. Imagine now a small village resting under the hush of midnight, every home quiet, every lamp dimmed, every heart gathered into sleep except for one gentle soul who sits awake in the stillness. His name is Joseph, an upright man, steady and faithful, someone who knew the weight of uncertainty more intimately than many realized. There was a night, long ago, when he too wrestled with worry, when confusion clouded his mind and fear whispered its heavy lies. Mary, the woman he loved, carried a child he did not understand. The future he had imagined began to unravel before him, and worry told him that everything was falling apart. But in the midst of his anxious thoughts, God came to him in a dream, not with thunder, not with shaking earth, but with gentle clarity, with calm assurance. An angel spoke into his fear and said, "Do not be afraid, do not worry, for what is happening is from God." And in a single moment, Joseph's swirling fears were met with heavenly peace. His questions did not all disappear, but the need to understand everything lifted from his shoulders. He rested in the quiet confidence that God was in control, even when he could not see how. Tonight, that same God speaks softly into your heart. He does not demand that you understand the entire path before you. He does not pressure you to see the full story. He simply invites you to rest deeply, gently, in the truth that he is guiding your steps with perfect wisdom. Your worries whisper uncertainty, but his presence whispers reassurance. Your fears imagine chaos, but his love creates order. Your thoughts may tremble, but his voice remains steady and soft, saying, "Do not be afraid. I am here. Trust me." Let your breathing deepen as you take in that quiet truth. Feel the tension behind your ribs loosening. Feel the heaviness in your shoulders dissolving. Feel the tightness in your mind unfurling like petals opening at dawn. God is holding you with the same calm certainty that steadied Joseph. The unknown is not unknown to him. The future is not uncertain to him. Your path is not fragile in his hands. He leads you gently, faithfully, patiently, just as he has led countless hearts throughout time. And now, imagine the early morning glow spreading over the fields where young Samuel once slept as a boy in the house of the Lord. The night had been quiet, soft, serene, until a voice called his name in the darkness. Samuel. He woke, startled, unsure, believing the priest Eli had called for him. But when he asked, Eli shook his head gently, saying he had not spoken. Samuel returned to bed, his small heart fluttering with confusion. And again the voice called, "Samuel." It was only after the third time that Eli understood. God himself was calling the boy, and when Samuel finally answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," his entire life changed. God spoke direction into his future, identity into his heart, purpose into his soul. Tonight, that same God calls your name with the same tenderness, not in the loudness of fear, not in the confusion of anxiety, but in the quiet of your spirit, in the soft space where your heart opens like a child listening in faith. He calls you not to worry, but to rest, not to fear, but to trust, not to anticipate the worst, but to lean into the gentle certainty that he is speaking peace over every part of your life. Let the whisper of God settle into you like a warm breeze passing through an open window. Let the truth that he knows you, sees you, and speaks your name dissolve the last remnants of fear lingering in your mind. Every moment of your life is known by him. Every prayer is heard. Every worry is understood. And every breath you take tonight rests within the cradle of his kindness. Your mind can drift now, softly, gently, peacefully, for you are held in a love that has spanned eternity to reach you in this very moment. You are not alone in your night. You are not lost in your thoughts. You are not forgotten in your fears. God is here. God is near. God is whispering peace over you with a tenderness that wraps your soul in safety. Let yourself sink deeper into that warm presence, deeper into the quiet, deeper into the truth that God is watching over you right now with a love more patient than the stars and more constant than the dawn that waits to rise. You can rest. truly rest, for you are held. And as your heart settles even further into this gentle stillness, imagine the night stretching across the quiet hills of Judea, the sky deep and velvet, scattered with stars like tiny blessings placed carefully by the hand of God. Each star glows with patient light, ancient and steady, reminding you that the God who set them in the heavens also watches tenderly over every corner of your life. He does not overlook your struggles. He does not ignore your fears. Instead, he sees every anxious thought with compassion, every sigh with understanding, every tear with tender care. In this sacred quiet, picture a young woman named Esther standing before her window in the palace, staring out into the night as fear whispers heavily into her heart. She has been chosen for a purpose she did not seek, called into a moment she never imagined. Her people are in danger. The future feels uncertain. The weight of responsibility presses on her like a shadow she cannot escape. Worry wraps around her like cold hands, whispering all the ways things could go wrong, all the dangers that await, all the risks she cannot control. And yet, in the midst of her trembling, a deeper truth gently rises. She remembers the God of her fathers, the God who rescued his people from Egypt, the God who parted seas and guided them through wilderness, the God who keeps his promises with unshakable love. A quiet thought settles into her soul like a soft lamp being lit in a dark room. What if I am not alone? What if God has placed me here on purpose? What if his strength is greater than my fear? This whisper grows inside her like a warm ember, glowing brighter, steadier, stronger. She begins to breathe differently, slower, deeper, with a calm that does not come from certainty, but from trust. She realizes that her life is held within a plan far more powerful than the fear that surrounds her. And when she finally says, "If I perish, I perish," it is not despair speaking. It is surrender. Surrender to a God who is able to turn even the darkest moments into miracles. And God does exactly that. Esther steps forward with a trembling heart but a steady spirit, and the Lord turns her fear into courage, her worry into wisdom, her uncertainty into victory. Her story whispers to your heart now, reminding you that God can work beautifully even through seasons where you feel fragile, scared, or uncertain. He can turn your trembling into triumph. He can turn your anxiety into purpose. He can turn your nights of worry into testimonies of his faithfulness. Let that truth settle into your chest like warm oil, soothing every tight place. You do not have to be strong on your own. God does not ask you to carry the weight of the unknown. He simply invites you to trust that he is already working in every direction your life will go. Your future is not fragile in his hands. Your path is not lost to him. Your story is not slipping through his fingers. He is guiding you gently, step by step, breath by breath, with a tenderness deeper than your fears. Now imagine another quiet scene, this time in a small home in Bethany, where Martha sits at a table long after the guests have gone, her hands still, her thoughts swirling. She had always tried to handle everything, every task, every responsibility, every detail. But Jesus had gently reminded her that her worry was pulling her away from the very one who could calm her heart. He had said, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but only one thing is needed." And those words echo softly tonight into your own spirit. You too may feel like Martha sometimes, pulled in many directions, holding too much, trying too hard, weighed down by worries that stack one on top of another. But Jesus does not scold you. He does not shame you. He simply invites you to come sit with him, to rest at his feet, to breathe in his peace, and let go of everything that exhausts your soul. He calls your name with tenderness, just as he called hers, reminding you that His presence is the one place where your worries dissolve and your heart finds rest. So let yourself sink into that place now. See? The quiet space beside Jesus. The space where striving ends and peace begins. Feel the nearness of His love settling around you like a soft blanket, warm and safe. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing sinking with the calm He pours into your spirit. Feel the truth that you do not need to hold everything together, because He is holding you. Your worry is losing its grip. Your fear is fading into the night. Your heart is resting in the warmth of a love that will not let you go. You are safe now, deeply, beautifully safe. And as the gentle quiet continues to wrap itself around you like the softest embrace, let your spirit lean even further into this sacred calm, this holy hush where God's presence becomes the warm atmosphere your heart breathes in. The night feels tender now, softened, peaceful, as though heaven itself has lowered its voice and settled beside you. Every story whispered so far begins to weave together like threads of comfort, forming a tapestry of truth around your weary thoughts. And in this tender weaving, God continues to speak, quietly, lovingly, faithfully. Imagine now the dim glow of early dawn touching the edges of the wilderness where Hagar once wandered, her heart shattered, her future uncertain, worry pressing against her chest like a cold weight. She felt abandoned, unseen, forgotten by the world around her. She carried fear so heavy it nearly crushed her. Her tears fell into the sand like silent prayers, each one soaked with the ache of not knowing what would come next. But then, in the quiet, in the loneliness, in the very place where she felt most invisible, God spoke. A voice called her by name, Hagar, with tenderness that reached deeper than all the hurt she carried, and she lifted her face, startled by the presence of the God who sees. In that moment, her spirit whispered a name for Him that has echoed across generations, El Roi, the God who sees me. Think of that now. God sees you. He sees your worries even before you speak them. He sees your fears even before you understand them. He sees the thoughts you hide, the tears you swallow, the questions you whisper only in the silence of night. He sees every part of you, your strength, your trembling, your hopes, your weariness, and His gaze is not harsh or distant. It is tender, attentive, compassionate. You are not unseen. You are not overlooked. You are held in the sightline of a God whose eyes are filled with unfailing love. Let that truth sink into your heart like warm light spreading through every shadowed place. Feel the heaviness inside you begin to lift, gently, slowly, like dawn pushing back the darkness. You do not walk alone through the wilderness of your thoughts. You do not wander unnoticed through your nights of worry. El Roi walks with you, watches over you, understands you, whispers guidance when the path grows unclear. And now imagine the soft glow of lanterns flickering in a quiet home in Nine, where a widow once lived with more grief than she could carry. Her only son had died, and the weight of loss pressed her down until she could barely breathe. Worry consumed her future, fear clenched around her heart, and sorrow dimmed every bit of light she once had. But as the funeral procession moved through the dusty street, Jesus appeared, full of compassion, full of tenderness, full of a love that saw her pain more clearly than anyone else. He walked toward her, not away from her sorrow. He stood beside her, not distant or indifferent, and with a gentle touch, with a voice soft and full of mercy, He restored her son to life. Her despair turned into the deepest relief. Her worry dissolved into awe. Her tears shifted from sorrow to joy. That same Jesus walks toward you now, in your own quiet night, in your own tender places, in the spaces where you have felt overwhelmed or afraid. He does not pass you by. He does not look at your fears with impatience. He draws near, carrying peace deep enough to quiet every trembling part of your soul. He whispers into your spirit, "Do not weep. I am here. I am doing more than you can see." Let your heart feel that nearness. Warm, steady, gentle. Let the presence of Jesus rest upon you like the soft glow of dawn settling across a sleeping landscape. Your chest loosens, your breathing deepens, your thoughts calm. The one who raises the dead, who mends the broken, who comforts the weary, is holding you now. Nothing in your life is too small for his compassion or too tangled for his care. So rest in that truth. Breathe into it. Let it cradle your heart. You do not have to chase what God has planned for you. You do not have to rush to secure your future. You simply walk with him, gently, faithfully, step by step, and he will guide you into a story bigger and more beautiful than your worry could ever predict. Let this peace wash over you now, warm as candlelight, soft as a lullaby, steady as the heartbeat of God's everlasting love. You are safe, you are seen, you are held, you are deeply, deeply loved. And as the night continues to breathe softly around you, like a gentle lullaby woven through the quiet air, your spirit settles even deeper into the calm presence of God, who holds you with a tenderness stronger than any fear, more faithful than any worry, more constant than any shifting thought. Every moment that passes draws you further into this peaceful stillness, a sanctuary not made of walls or distance, but of his nearness, his love, his unfailing care. Imagine now the sacred sweetness of an early morning in the hills of Galilee, long after Jesus had risen, when his followers still carried both hope and trembling in their hearts. They had seen miracles. They had seen resurrection. They had seen the power of God in flesh and breath. And yet, in the quiet moments, in the spaces between sunrise and duty, they still wrestled with the lingering echoes of worry. Old fears sometimes crept in. Old anxieties whispered familiar lies. Their hearts, like yours, were human, fragile at times, uncertain at times, longing for assurance at every hour. But Jesus knew this. He understood the way worry tries to return, the way fear tries to settle in the corners of a heart that desires peace. And so one morning, as the light began to stretch across the shore, Jesus met them again, this time on the beach, with a fire warm and glowing beside the gently lapping waves. The disciples had been fishing through the night, catching nothing, their efforts heavy and weary. But as dawn approached, Jesus called out to them from the shore, his voice carrying across the water with kindness. "Cast your net on the right side." They obeyed, and suddenly their nets overflowed with abundance, so full they could barely lift them. And at that moment, John whispered the truth his heart instantly recognized. "It is the Lord." At those words, Peter, impulsive, passionate, tender in ways he rarely admitted, jumped into the water and swam straight toward Jesus. He didn't worry about the distance. He didn't fear the waves. He didn't pause to calculate or question. His heart pulled him toward the one who calms every worry with a glance, every fear with a breath. And when he reached the shore, Jesus was there. No condemnation, no disappointment, only warmth and welcome. A fire crackled, bread and fish waited, and Jesus looked at his friends with the kind of love that melts every anxious thought, the kind of love that says, "You are safe, you are forgiven, you are mine." As they ate together, the morning sun rising gently, their hearts found rest again, not in explanations, but in presence, not in answers to every question, but in the steady comfort of Jesus' nearness. This same presence gathers around you now. You may feel tired from trying to carry the weight of life. You may feel weary from casting your nets again and again, feeling like little comes back. But Jesus stands on the shore of your thoughts with a warm fire and gentle invitation. Come, rest with me. Let me restore you. His presence is not distant. It's not conditional. It's not fragile. It is steady, warm, and filled with compassion for every part of you that longs for peace. Let that image sink into your soul, easing your mind and softening your breath. The light of his presence rests over you like a warm sunrise, slowly illuminating every corner of your heart with steady reassurance. And now imagine a quiet garden in Jerusalem, blooming in the morning light. Dew rests like tiny jewels on the petals. The air is cool and fragrant. In this garden, years before the cross, Jesus prayed the most tender prayer, the most vulnerable plea, the most honest surrender. He felt the heaviness of what was coming, the weight of the world pressing on his chest, the grief, the agony, the human ache. And even the Son of God whispered words that echo your own heart at times. Father, if it is possible, let this pass from me. Let that truth breathe into your soul now. God is writing a story through your life that is far kinder than your fears suggest. He takes broken moments and makes them beautiful. He takes trembling steps and turns them into testimony. He takes your worry and replaces it with purpose. Nothing about your past can diminish the future he is preparing for you. Nothing about your fears can undo the love he pours over you. Let the gentle weight of that promise rest softly on your spirit. Feel your chest loosen. Feel your breathing deepen. Feel the soft hush of peace spreading through you like warm light. And as you settle further into this holy quiet, know this: God is not distant. God is not uncertain. God is not slow in his care. He is nearer than your thoughts, kinder than your fears, steadier than your heartbeat, and more faithful than dawn. You can rest now in that truth. You can breathe in the safety of his presence. You can release every worry into his gentle hands, for you are loved, fully, endlessly, eternally. And as this gentle night deepens around you, your spirit drifts further into the quiet warmth of God's everlasting presence, the presence that does not flicker, does not waver, does not thin when the world grows heavy. It only wraps more closely around you, steady as breath, soft as mercy, warm as the embrace of a love that has followed you all your life. Every moment that passes draws you deeper into rest, deeper into peace, deeper into the tender certainty that you are held. Imagine now the calm stillness of the desert where Moses once tended sheep, long before he ever saw the burning bush, long before he ever lifted his staff to part the sea. Moses had run from his fears, run from his failures, run from the man he no longer wanted to be. And in the quiet years that followed, he wondered if God could still use him, still see him, still love him. Worry whispered that his story was over, that he had ruined everything, that his future was too broken to be redeemed. But God was shaping him in the silence. God was working in the stillness. God was preparing him gently, patiently, quietly. And when the moment was right, when Moses' heart had softened enough to hear, when his spirit had grown tender enough to see, God appeared in a flame that did not consume, a fire that burned with holy purpose. And from that fire, God called to him, Moses, Moses. The same name he thought he had buried beneath the weight of failure, the same name he believed no longer held meaning. But God spoke it with love, with power, with tenderness. This is what God does. He does not abandon your story when you worry. He does not discard your future when you feel uncertain. He does not give up on you when you feel afraid. Instead, He draws near in ways softer than you expect, quieter than you notice at first, until suddenly you realize He has been preparing answers long before you even knew which questions to ask. Let that settle into you now, like warm light resting on your chest. Every period of waiting in your life has purpose. Every quiet season is shaping you. Every pause is filled with God's patient work. You have not been forgotten in the silence. You have been prepared. And imagine now Moses approaching that burning bush, trembling with both fear and wonder. His life had been marked by mistakes, overshadowed by regret, tangled with uncertainty. Yet God said, "I will be with you. Not you must be strong, not you must be brave, not you must figure everything out, only I will be with you." The simplest promise, the greatest promise, the only truth strong enough to silence every worry. That same promise rests over you tonight, gently, steadily. God whispers into your heart, "I will be with you. I will be with you in the questions. I will be with you in the waiting. I will be with you in the unknown. I will be with you in the fears you haven't spoken aloud. I am not leaving you." Let your breath soften at those words. Let your shoulders release their hidden tension. Let your mind loosen its grip on imagined futures. You are not walking alone. You never have been. Now picture the soft moonlight lying across the rooftop in Jerusalem, where Daniel once prayed 3 times a day. Even when danger surrounded him, even when laws were written to destroy him, even when he knew the cost of his devotion, he knelt and opened his windows toward heaven. He did not pray because he was fearless. He prayed because he trusted. He trusted that God's care was deeper than any threat. He trusted that God's protection was stronger than any fear. And when he was thrown into the lion's den, God shut their mouths with a tenderness more powerful than the sharpest tooth. Daniel's story whispers to you now, do not fear the things that roar around you. God shuts the mouths of fears. God closes the jaws of worry. God stands with you in the places that seem dangerous. Even there, especially there, He is your peace. And in the quiet glow of that holy night, the shepherds felt something they had never felt before. Perfect peace. Peace that did not depend on answers. Peace that did not depend on circumstances. Peace that came from the simple truth that God had drawn nearer than ever before. He has drawn near to you now, closer than fear, closer than worry, closer than breath. Let His presence settle around you like a warm blanket in the cool of night. Let your thoughts drift gently into His peace. Let your heart soften in His kindness. Let every burden slip from your hands and rest in His unfailing care. You are safe in His love. You are steady in His hands. You are surrounded by His peace. And the one who watched over every story whispered tonight is watching tenderly over you. And as this tender quiet settles even deeper around you, like a soft mantle drifting down from heaven itself, your spirit relaxes into a rest that feels ancient and holy, a rest woven from the very heart of God. The night grows warmer in its stillness, gentler in its embrace, as though the entire world has exhaled and fallen into the soothing rhythm of divine peace. Every breath you take draws in more of His nearness, more of His comfort, more of the love that has followed you from the moment you were formed. Imagine now the gentle hush of the Jordan River at dawn, the sky painted with soft colors of rose and gold. John the Baptist stands at the water's edge, his feet sinking into the cool earth, his heart steady with purpose, yet tender with humility. Crowds gather around him, hearts filled with questions, souls heavy with worry, minds tangled in fears they cannot name. They come not because they are strong, but because they are weary, longing for something real, something steady, something true. And then, through the soft mist rising above the river, Jesus appears. He walks quietly, peacefully, every step infused with the calm certainty of heaven. The waters ripple around his feet as he steps into the river, and John's breath catches in awe. The people fall silent. Even the wind seems to stop. When Jesus emerges from the waters, the sky opens. The Spirit descends like a gentle dove, and the Father's voice whispers across the river, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Those words were spoken over Jesus, but through him, they are spoken over you. You are his beloved. You are his delight. You are his joy, not because you are perfect, but because you are his. Let that truth settle into your bones, soft and warm like sunlight spreading through your chest. Feel the weight of worry loosening its grip. Feel your heart shifting into a quiet alignment with the Father's love. You do not earn his affection. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to chase his approval. You already have it, completely, eternally, unfailingly. And now, imagine Jesus stepping out of the river and walking into the wilderness, led by the Spirit, his heart steady and full of trust. For 40 days he fasted, surrounded by silence, solitude, and shadows. Worry whispered. Fear lurked at the edges. The enemy spoke lies meant to shake him. But Jesus answered every lie with truth. He did not wrestle with fear. He replaced it with the word. He did not bow to worry. He stood in perfect peace. And this same Jesus, who overcame the wilderness, who silenced the enemy, who walked through shadows without trembling, now walks beside you in your own quiet night. Every lie worry has spoken, he answers with truth. Every fear that rises, he calms with his presence. Every anxious thought that forms, he gently reshapes with his peace. Let your breathing slow as you imagine his hand resting lightly over yours, warm and steady, reminding you that you are not alone in your wilderness. The same strength that carried him carries you. The same peace that guarded his heart guards yours. The same love that sustained him sustains you, even now, even in this breath. And now the scene shifts softly to a hillside in ancient Samaria, where a woman sits alone beside a well at midday. Her heart is worn thin by shame, her mind tangled with regret, her future uncertain. Worry wraps around her like a heavy cloak, whispering that she is beyond hope, beyond love, beyond redemption. But then Jesus arrives, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by divine intention. He sits beside her, speaks to her, sees her. He reveals her truth not to shame her, but to free her. He offers her living water, water that quenches the deepest thirst, water that washes every fear, water that turns sorrow into joy. This is what happens when Jesus meets you in your worry. He doesn't leave you as he found you. He fills you with peace. He covers you with mercy. He surrounds you with love, more constant than the sky above you. And now, as this night grows deeper still, imagine yourself beside the quiet Sea of Galilee once more, the gentle waves lapping against the shore, the moon casting soft, silver ripples across the water. Jesus stands beside you, looking out across the calm expanse, his presence warming the air around you. He turns to you with eyes full of tenderness and speaks in a whisper meant only for your heart. My beloved, your worry is not your truth. Your fear is not your story. Your anxious thoughts are not your destiny. You are mine, and I am holding your life with a love that cannot fail. Let those words become the heartbeat of your spirit. Let them soften every corner of your mind. Let them soothe every trembling part of your soul. You are safe, you are loved, you are held, tonight and always. Bible story said, and as the quiet deepens even further, like a warm veil settling softly over your thoughts, you sink into a peace that feels deeper than breath, deeper than words, deeper than the weight you once carried in your chest. The presence of God surrounds you now with a tenderness that flows into every hidden corner of your heart, softening what was once tense, soothing what was once fearful, calming what was once loud inside your mind. You are resting, truly resting, in the gentle nearness of the one who loves you beyond measure. Imagine now the soft glow of lamplight falling across the wooden floor of a humble home in Capernaum. A paralyzed man lies on a mat in the center of the room, his heart aching with longing, his mind weary with the endless cycle of worry that he cannot change his situation, worry that he burdens those around him, worry that God might be distant from his suffering. Yet his friends, moved by faith deeper than fear, lift him with determined hands and carry him through the crowded streets. They will not let worry win. They will not let obstacles silence hope. When they cannot reach Jesus through the door, they climb. When they cannot push through the crowd, they rise higher. When they cannot find a way, they make one. They open the roof above Jesus and lower their friend gently through the opening, placing him at the feet of the one who sees everything, every fear, every tear, every trembling thought. Jesus looks at the man, not with pity, but with perfect love. And before he heals the man's body, he heals his heart. Your sins are forgiven. Do not fear. Stand and walk. And in that moment, strength floods the man's legs, peace floods his spirit, and joy rises within him like light breaking through the darkest morning. He stands, not just healed in body, but restored in soul. His story whispers gently to you now. You, too, are being carried by love. Love stronger than worry, love greater than fear, love that lifts you into the presence of God even when you feel you cannot lift yourself. Let that truth seep down into your chest like warm oil, loosening everything that once clenched your heart. God is not waiting for you to be strong. He is not asking you to conquer your fears alone. He surrounds you with grace in every direction, before you, behind you, beside you. And this grace carries you when you cannot carry yourself. And now imagine the quiet fields outside Shunem, where a woman once stood holding the hand of her young son, her heart overflowing with gratitude. God had given her a child she never dared to hope for, a blessing so precious she feared even to speak of it at first. Yet when tragedy struck, when her son suddenly grew ill and died in her arms, her heart shattered beneath the weight of grief. Worry told her it was over. Fear told her to give up. But faith whispered to her soul with a voice strong and steady, "Go to the prophet. Do not be afraid. God is not finished." She saddled her donkey. She rode with fierce hope. She clung to the promise she could not see. And when she found Elisha, she fell at his feet in raw, trembling honesty, her soul pouring out grief without filter, without fear of being dismissed. And God heard her cry. He restored her boy to life. He turned her tears into laughter. He transformed her darkest moment into a testimony that still whispers through the quiet of this night. Do not fear. God restores what worry tries to steal. Let that truth settle over you like a soft, warm blanket. The parts of your life that feel lost, God can restore. The pieces that feel broken, God can heal. The worries that feel overwhelming, God can transform into peace. You do not carry hopelessness into tomorrow. God carries hope to you. And imagine now a quiet path on the Mount of Olives, the air cool and fragrant in the evening light. Jesus walks beside his disciples, speaking calmly, tenderly, knowing their hearts tremble with worries about the future. He tells them of things to come, but not to frighten them, rather to prepare them, to steady them, to anchor them in a peace deeper than their understanding. And then he gives them words that travel across time and land gently on your soul tonight. That same voice whispers into the silence of your night. Do not fear. Do not imagine the worst. Do not carry tomorrow before it comes. You are safe in my hands. You are held in my love. You are surrounded by my presence. Rest, beloved. Rest. Let these words become the gentle lullaby that carries you deeper into peace. Let every breath remind you that God is near. Let every moment draw you further into his calm embrace. You are loved more than you know. You are protected more than you feel. You are held more tenderly than your heart can understand. And now, you can rest, deeply, fully, safely, in him. And as this gentle stream of peace continues flowing through the quiet places of your spirit, you settle even further into the soft embrace of God's presence, a presence so calm and steady it feels like warm light resting inside your chest. The night around you grows tender, hushed, as though heaven itself is whispering lullabies into your soul. Every heartbeat becomes slower, steadier, more anchored in the truth that you are safe, deeply safe, in the hands of the one who has guarded you from your first breath. Imagine now a tranquil hillside at dusk, where young Jeremiah once sat overlooking the city of Jerusalem. He was only a boy, uncertain, timid, convinced that his voice was too small, his strength too thin, his courage too fragile. Worry filled his mind like clouds across a summer sky. He wondered why God had called him, wondered how he could possibly carry such a burden, wondered how someone so young, so ordinary, could speak for the God of heaven. But then God spoke with a whisper that reached deeper than Jeremiah's fear. Do not say, I am too young. Do not be afraid of them. For I am with you, and I will deliver you. And as those words settled into Jeremiah's heart, something shifted. Worry loosened its grip. Fear began to melt. The lies he believed about himself faded beneath the weight of God's truth. God touched Jeremiah's lips and filled him with purpose, strength, and peace he could never have created on his own. That same truth breathes over you now. You are not too weak, not too small, not too late, not too lost, not too anything for the God who calls you his. He fills every space where you feel lacking. He strengthens every place where you feel fragile. He quiets every thought that rises in worry. He holds every inch of your story with gentle purpose. Let that truth wrap around your chest like warm arms embracing you from behind. Feel the tension drain from your shoulders. Feel your breathing settle into a slow, peaceful rhythm. God does not look at you and see insufficiency. He sees belovedness. And now imagine yourself wandering through the quiet streets of ancient Bethlehem long after the town has fallen asleep. The moon casts a silvery glow over the rooftops, the air cool and still. Inside a humble stable, Mary rests beside the newborn Jesus, her heart overflowing with awe and exhaustion. She has walked through months of uncertainty, months of wonder mingled with fear, months of trusting God even when she did not understand his ways. But now, in the soft glow of lantern light, she holds the Savior of the world in her arms. His tiny fingers curl around hers. His breathing is soft and steady, and every worry she once carried dissolves in the warmth of this holy night. She does not know what the future will hold, but she knows Who holds the future? Let that scene settle into your heart like warm light spreading slowly across the darkness inside you. The same God who held Mary in her uncertainty holds you now. The same God who guided her through fear guides you through yours. The same love that filled that stable fills the quiet around you tonight. Feel it, as gentle as a whisper, as steady as the rising dawn. And now, imagine a garden on a warm spring morning where Jesus appears to his disciples after his resurrection. Their hearts had been heavy with grief, weighed down by sorrow, crushed by worry. They had feared the dark was stronger than the light, that despair had won, that hope had died. But then Jesus stood among them, alive, radiant, filled with peace deeper than the ocean. He breathed on them and said, "Peace be with you, not courage, not strength, not answers, but peace, perfect peace." Let your heart rest in the warmth of that truth. You are not drifting through life unnoticed. You are not walking through this night unseen. The God who formed galaxies leans close to you now, watching over you with a love sharper than any fear and more enduring than any worry. You can feel his nearness in every slow breath you take, in every softened thought, in the quiet unwinding of your mind. Everything that frightened you is small in his hands. Everything that worried you is light to him. Everything that burdened you rests now beneath his wings. You are safe, deeply safe, and so very loved. Let the quiet carry you. Let his peace enfold you. Let your heart sink fully into rest. God is here, and you are held. And as this soft river of peace continues flowing gently through your spirit, you feel yourself sinking even deeper into the warm, steady nearness of God. A nearness that quiets the last trembling corners of your heart. The night feels almost sacred now, wrapped in silence that glows like candlelight, inviting you to rest in a love that has always held you, even in moments when you didn't realize it. Every breath moves slowly, tenderly, guided by the calming assurance that your life is safely contained in God's hands. Imagine now the silent stillness of the temple courtyard at dawn, where old Simeon once walked slowly beneath the soft glow of morning light. His beard was white, his steps careful but steady, his eyes filled with both longing and unshakable trust. For years, decades even, he had carried a promise from God in his heart, a promise that he would see the Messiah before he died. Many days, that promise felt distant. Many nights, worry whispered its familiar lies. What if it never happens? What if you misheard? What if you hoped for too much? Yet Simeon did not let worry become his truth. He waited. He trusted. He leaned on the quiet certainty of God's voice. And one morning, ordinary to everyone but heavenly to him, the Spirit whispered in his soul to go to the temple. He didn't know why, but he went, guided by a peace deeper than understanding. And there, in the gentle arms of Mary, he saw the infant Jesus, the Messiah, the promise, the light. Tears filled Simeon's eyes as he gathered the baby close, his old heart wrapped in a joy so tender it replaced every quiet worry he had ever held. He whispered a prayer of peace, a prayer that now settles like soft rain over your spirit. Lord, now let your servant depart in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation. Just as God fulfilled his promise to Simeon, he is faithful to every promise he has spoken over your life. Nothing he has planned for you can be stolen by fear. Nothing he has prepared for you can be undone by worry. His timing is not late. His care is not fragile. His love is not uncertain. Your story is unfolding slowly, gently, perfectly under his compassionate watch. Let that truth sink deep into your heart now. like warm light filling every dim corner. Feel your breathing steady. Feel your thoughts loosen. Feel the calm spreading through your chest like soft waves moving across still water. And now imagine Anna, the prophetess, who lived in the temple day after day, year after year, worshipping God with fasting and prayer. She had known loss. She had known solitude. She had known seasons where worry could have darkened her spirit. Yet she chose worship instead of fear. She chose devotion instead of despair. She chose trust instead of trembling. And because she remained close to God, she too was present when Jesus was brought into the temple. Her heart recognized him instantly. Joy filled her spirit like sunlight breaking through clouds. She began to testify of him to all who longed for redemption. Her years of waiting were not wasted. They had prepared her for this moment of pure, radiant joy. Her story whispers gently into your spirit now. None of your waiting is wasted. None of your tears are unseen. None of your prayers are forgotten. God is working in the silence. He is shaping joy in places you cannot yet see. And now, let your mind drift to a quiet road outside Damascus, where a man named Saul once traveled with a heart full of anger, his mind fueled by fear, his spirit twisted by worry disguised as certainty. His steps were heavy with purpose, but his soul was blind to truth. Then, without warning, a light brighter than the sun enveloped him, and the voice of Jesus reached into the deepest part of his being. Let that truth wrap completely around your heart now, like warm arms pulling you close. The love of God doesn't just comfort you, it displaces fear. It fills the places where worry once lived. It becomes the quiet river that flows through your spirit long after the noise of the world has faded. You are resting in that love now. You are breathing in that peace. You are wrapped in that safety. Every moment becomes softer, deeper, steadier, as you sink into the calm certainty that you are held. And now imagine the final scenes of Scripture, not as distant prophecy, but as gentle reassurance. A new heaven, a new earth. No more sorrow, no more fear, no more worry. God himself wiping every tear from every eye, including yours. Let that future promise kiss your soul softly tonight. Let it calm you, root you, comfort you, as the night holds you in its quiet embrace. God is here. God is near. God is holding you. You can rest now, fully, deeply, safely, in the everlasting arms of his endless love. And as this quiet night continues to wrap itself around you like the gentlest embrace, your heart sinks even further into the soft warmth of God's presence. A presence so tender, so steady, so endlessly patient that every lingering whisper of worry begins to fade like a distant echo. Your breathing slows, your spirit loosens, your thoughts drift like leaves upon a calm river, carried effortlessly by the one who has promised to keep you in perfect peace. Imagine now the stillness of a quiet hillside near the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus often withdrew to pray. The world around him would sometimes swell with noise, crowds pressing close, needs rising like waves, voices calling out in desperation. But Jesus knew the secret of rest. He knew the deep peace of slipping into his Father's presence, of sinking into communion deeper than exhaustion, sweeter than worry, stronger than every earthly demand. And in those solitary hours, under the vast night sky or the first glow of dawn, he was renewed, restored, recalibrated in divine calm. Picture him now upon that hillside, the breeze brushing gently through his hair, the stars shimmering above like tiny lanterns hung lovingly by the Father. His face is soft in the moonlight, serene with a peace untouched by fear. And then imagine him turning his gaze toward you, not with urgency, not with expectation, but with tender invitation. His eyes say, "Come sit with me, rest with me, breathe with me." And when you sit beside him in your heart, everything inside you becomes quieter. The heaviness you carried without noticing begins to lift. The thoughts that once raced begin to find stillness. The worry that once felt so loud dissolves under the calm of his presence. You are resting now where Jesus himself rests, in the loving nearness of the Father. And now imagine a gentle river flowing through the valley below, its waters moving slowly, peacefully, reflecting the moon like a ribbon of silver. Upon its banks once walked Joshua, steady and strong, yet humanly aware of the immense weight of leadership before him. Moses had gone. The people looked to him. The land ahead held both promise and uncertainty. Worry could have overwhelmed him, but God spoke into his heart with a voice steady and warm. "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Those words did not come because Joshua was fearless. They came because he needed reassurance, just as you do. And those same words are spoken over you tonight, breathed softly into your weary spirit. Do not be afraid. I am with you, wherever you go. Let that truth rest over you like a gentle hand upon your heart. Feel the comfort moving slowly through you, quiet as dawn light spreading across a sleeping field. You do not walk into tomorrow alone. You do not face your uncertainties in isolation. God goes with you, goes before you, goes behind you, and surrounds you with the warmth of his unfailing presence. And now imagine the quiet interior of a small room where Paul and Silas once sat, chained to the cold floor of a Philippian prison. Their bodies were weary, their future unclear, the darkness thick around them. Yet, in the dead of night, instead of letting fear rule their hearts, they lifted their voices in song. Hymns rose through the darkness like soft flames, warm and steady. Praise filled the air like gentle incense, pushing back every thought of worry. And heaven responded. The ground trembled, the chains fell, the doors swung open. But the greatest miracle was not the quake. It was the peace that filled them before the earth even moved, a peace that kept their hearts steady in the silence, in the uncertainty, in the long hours of not knowing. And now imagine Jesus lifting you into his arms, not as a burden, but as a beloved child, pressing you close to his heart. Feel the slow rhythm of his heartbeat, steady, unhurried, eternal. Feel the warmth of his embrace, safe, protective, tender beyond words. Feel the way your soul relaxes in his arms, like a child finally falling asleep in the safest place imaginable. You are in that place now. You are held. You are cherished. You are protected. You are completely enveloped in love that cannot fail. Let your breath deepen. Let your mind soften. Let your body grow heavy with rest, for the God who never sleeps is watching lovingly over you. You can release everything. You can surrender every thought. You can let go of every worry. You are safe. You are loved. You are held, now and forever. And as this tender stream of peace continues to flow gently around you, you feel yourself drifting deeper into a quiet that feels almost sacred, a soft, holy hush where every part of your being relaxes beneath the warmth of God's love. The night holds you gently now, like a soft cradle woven of light and calm, and with each slow breath, your heart settles further into the safety of his presence. There is no rush here, no pressure, no demands, only rest, only peace, only the soft assurance that you are loved beyond measure. Imagine now the warm glow of lanterns flickering along the streets of ancient Corinth, where a young woman named Chloe once walked with steady grace and a peaceful strength that surprised even her own heart. Her world was often chaotic, markets bustling, ships arriving, voices rising, conflict stirring. But within her quiet spirit lived a deep trust that God was present in every moment. When worries tried to take root, she lifted her eyes and whispered simple prayers, not long, not complicated, but full of faith. And each time she prayed, peace flowed through her like a gentle river. Paul once wrote letters to the church in Corinth, letters filled with wisdom, with tenderness, with encouragement. Do not be anxious about anything, he wrote later to the believers in Philippi, though his heart carried the same hope for all the churches he loved. But in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Imagine that peace now, not as something distant, not as something fragile, but as a soft shield wrapping gently around your heart, guarding you from the inside out. This peace doesn't require you to solve anything. It doesn't ask you to be strong. It doesn't demand you understand the future. It simply rests upon you, quiet as dawn, warm as candlelight, steady as love. And now imagine the narrow path of a small village where a father once hurried toward Jesus, his heart pounding with fear for his dying daughter. Worry gripped him so tightly he could barely breathe. He begged Jesus to come, and Jesus went with him, step by step, without hurry, without hesitation. But then word came, "Your daughter is gone." Worry crashed over him like a sudden storm. The world blurred, his heart broke. But Jesus, so calm, so steady, turned to him and whispered the most tender words, "Do not fear, only believe." And they continued walking, together, slowly, softly, purposefully. When they reached the house, Jesus took the girl's small hand and said, "Little one, arise." And breath returned, life returned, hope returned. Let this story wash gently over the places in you that have felt afraid. Jesus walks with you at the pace of grace. He is never rushed by your fear, never shaken by your worry. He is calm beside you, guiding your steps with tenderness, ready to breathe life into the places that feel still and weary within you. Feel that calm entering your chest now. Feel your breath deepen. Feel your spirit loosen. Feel the warmth of his nearness, soothing every fear. Imagine now the quiet of a mountaintop at sunrise, where Elijah once stood listening for God. A violent wind tore across the rocks, but God was not in the wind. A fierce earthquake shook the ground, but God was not in the quake. A blazing fire roared before him, but God was not in the flames. And then a soft whisper, a gentle breeze, a still, small voice. That is how God comes to you now, not in thunder, not in fire, not in shaking earth, but in a whisper, a soft breath across your soul, a tenderness that quiets you from the inside out. Listen with your spirit, not your ears. He is whispering to you even now. You are mine. You are safe. You are held. Do not be afraid. Let those words settle into your heart like warm sand beneath your feet. Feel the soft, calming weight of his voice resting gently on your chest. You are seen. You are known. You are cared for in ways far deeper than you could ever hold yourself. And now, imagine the gentle hush of a small village at the edge of the Judean desert, where a mother once tucked her child into bed beneath a canopy of stars. The night was quiet, the air was cool, and as she stroked the child's hair, she whispered ancient words of blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and give you peace. These words drift across generations. They drift now into your spirit. They settle upon your thoughts like dew upon soft grass. The Lord blesses you. The Lord keeps you. The Lord shines his love over you. The Lord gives you peace, not a little peace, not temporary peace, but deep, soul-soothing peace that holds you through the night and steadies you for the morning to come. And as this soft, holy calm deepens around you, every part of your being begins to rest in a way that feels almost sacred, as though God himself has cupped his hands around your heart and whispered, "Be still now. You are safe with me." The world grows distant, the night grows tender, and you feel your spirit leaning gently into the warm shelter of his presence. Nothing is heavy here, nothing is hurried, nothing is demanded of you. You are simply invited to breathe, to rest, to be held. Imagine now a quiet valley in the days of Gideon, where fear once hovered like a cool mist over the land. The Israelites hid in caves, uncertainty pressing against their souls. Gideon himself threshed wheat in a hidden place, his heart tight with worry. He felt small, unprepared, unsure, much like you have felt in your own tender hours. But then, without warning, God's angel appeared beside him, not with intimidation, but with gentle assurance, calling him by a name he did not feel worthy of: Mighty Warrior. Gideon looked around as if the angel must be speaking to someone else, but God saw strength in him long before he felt it. God saw peace meant for him long before his heart could embrace it. God saw a story unfolding that worry could not erase. And when Gideon trembled, when he doubted, when he asked for signs, God did not grow impatient. He met Gideon with tenderness, again and again, offering reassurance, offering peace, offering presence. Tonight, that same God meets you where you are, not where you think you should be, not where your strength pretends you are, but where your heart truly rests now, fragile, tired, longing for calm. He calls you by names worry will never speak: beloved, chosen, held, mine. Let those names drift slowly into your mind, soft as petals. Let them sink deeper than the noise of your day, deeper than the fears that tried to cling to you, deeper than the whispers of doubt that sometimes rise like shadows. You are who God calls you, not who your worry imagines you to be. And now imagine a gentle rooftop in ancient Israel where Peter once fell into a peaceful trance. His heart softened by prayer, his mind opened to heavenly visions. The sun warmed the stones beneath him. The breeze brushed against his face. And in that quiet place, God rewrote the anxious boundaries Peter once held. He opened Peter's heart to new horizons, new understanding, new mercy. Fear had made Peter small, but God made his spirit spacious. Worry had narrowed his thoughts, but God expanded them. This same expansion is happening within you now, quietly, gently, invisibly. God widens the inner rooms of your heart so peace can dwell there fully. He opens spaces inside your spirit where comfort can settle. He dissolves tight corners where fear once curled itself, making room for a deeper rest, one you don't have to force, one you don't have to chase. It simply arrives, like the soft glow of dawn, easing into darkness. Let yourself receive that. Let your chest loosen. Let your breath drop into a slower rhythm. Feel the warm widening of your spirit as peace fills the spaces worry once crowded. And now, imagine the tender path to Bethany, where Jesus loved to walk, where a small home welcomed him with warmth and quiet devotion. Lazarus, Mary, and Martha lived there, their hearts tied deeply to his. And one day, when Lazarus fell ill and the sisters were gripped by fear, they sent for Jesus with trembling hope. Days passed, worry grew, grief settled. It seemed too late, too final, too heavy for hope to hold. But Jesus arrived with calm certainty, walking into their grief with eyes full of compassion. He wept with them, showing that he understands human sorrow, and then he spoke life into what seemed lost. Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus returned, walking out of the tomb, wrapped in cloth, but alive, breathing, restored. This story whispers softly into your night now. Nothing is too late for God. Nothing is too lost. Nothing is beyond the reach of his love. Even the places inside you that feel lifeless, tired, or overwhelmed are touched with his restoring breath tonight. Feel that breath now, gentle, warm, steady, moving through your spirit like a soft wind across still water. And now imagine a serene hillside where Jesus once taught multitudes about worry. The sky was bright, the lilies swayed in the breeze, the birds glided effortlessly overhead. He pointed to the flowers, how they grew without striving, clothed in beauty. He pointed to the birds, how they rested in the Father's provision. And then he looked into the eyes of those listening, eyes much like yours, filled with concern and what-ifs. And he said softly, "Do not worry. Your Father knows what you need. Seek him, and all these things will be added to you."